I'm sure we've all heard that lean manufacturing creates the best products. That is certainly not true. Lean doesn't always create the best products, and in some cases, it actually makes them worse. I know that sounds controversial, but stick with me and I'll prove my point. So, how can lean make bad products? First, let me explain what I mean by product. A product isn't just a physical thing. A product can be a process or even a service. For example, if we think of a restaurant, their product is their food, but it can also be the experience, the atmosphere, or even the online ordering process. So whether you're making pizza or custom widgets, the same principles apply. For this video, I want to focus on physical products because that's where I have most of my experience. My favorite definition of a good product comes from Tom and Jerry. A good product is something that satisfies customer needs and wants while meeting business goals. It has features that make it functional, but it also has characteristics that make it attractive to customers. In other words, a good product is the right balance between form and function. But lean is all about cutting waste and unnecessary costs. So how does lean relate to product quality? Well, consider these two approaches to designing a chair. The first approach follows lean principles. They use a modular approach so they can use the same parts to build different chairs. They keep the design simple and easy to manufacture with off-the-shelf parts. Their goal is to create a chair that is cheap enough to sell at a big box store. This is an example of optimized for cost. Now imagine another company that is focused on creating the ultimate gaming chair. They start from scratch with a new ergonomic design and custom parts. They spend thousands of hours and millions of dollars developing a chair that will blow away the competition. They focus on creating a luxurious experience with the ultimate in comfort and adjustability. This is an example of optimized for performance. So, which one of these is better? Well, it depends on your criteria. If you care about price and mass market appeal, then the first chair is probably the better choice. But if you're looking for the highest quality and performance, then the second option is probably the better choice. If you look at companies like Apple, Tesla, and Nike, they are all optimizing for performance rather than cost. These companies understand that there is a lot of value in creating unique and differentiated products, and that is why they often charge a premium for their products. So when should a company optimize for cost? When the product is a commodity. A commodity is a basic product that consumers want, but don't really care where it comes from or how it's made. When we look at the global market share of cars, you can see that Toyota is the biggest player by far. They sell more cars per year than the next 4 companies combined. But why do people buy Toyota? Because they're a safe, reliable choice. People aren't buying a Toyota because they love the interior materials or the sound of the engine. They're buying a car to get from point A to point B. In other words, a commodity. The same thing applies to commodities. People don't care how the steel is made or how the plastic is sourced. They just care that the final product is cheap and functional. So when the product is a commodity, lean is the best way to compete. When you look at industries that produce commodities, you will see that they operate very lean. Consider commodity chemicals, steel, cement, and oil. If you visit one of these plants, you will see minimal inventory, small facilities, and long lead times. They keep their processes tight to stay competitive. What about the products that are in between commodities and luxury items? Where does lean fit into that? Well, everything else in between is somewhere on the spectrum between commodities and luxury items. Consider paper. Paper is not a commodity because there are lots of different grades of paper. But it's also not a luxury item because nobody cares how the paper is made or the source of the pulp. The main thing that people care about with paper is the price. So paper is somewhere in the middle. Now let's look at 2 ways that paper can be produced. The first is a company that operates very lean. They buy recycled paper and run it through their machines until they can't anymore. Then they scrap the rags and start over again. They maximize their yield so they can produce the most paper possible from each batch. Now let's say a competitor starts using virgin pulp and doesn't recycle. Which one of these will produce higher quality paper? Well, the answer might surprise you. the virgin pulp will actually produce higher quality paper simply because the raw material is higher quality. This example illustrates that lean manufacturing cannot overcome a poor product design. If you start with low-quality inputs, then no amount of lean manufacturing will produce a high-quality output. So lean is not the best solution for everything. Let's take a step back and look at our original examples of the chairs. Let's say that both of these companies have been successful and now they're ready to scale. What happens if we apply lean to both of these companies? Well, the first company, the commodity chair manufacturer, will continue to thrive because lean is a natural fit for their business model. But what happens to the luxury chair manufacturer? As soon as you try to apply lean principles to a bespoke product, you kill the goose that lays the golden egg. Remember that lean is all about standardization and automation. The whole idea is to remove variability so you can produce the same thing over and over again. But that's not how luxury products work. The entire point of a luxury product is uniqueness and customization. It's not unusual for a luxury brand to turn away business because they don't have the capacity to take on more customers. So here's the conclusion. Lean doesn't always create the best products. In fact, lean can actually make products worse. There are 3 main takeaways. 1. The best product for your business depends on your business model. 2. Lean manufacturing cannot overcome poor product design. And 3. Trying to apply lean to a bespoke product can actually ruin the product. Hopefully this helps you think differently about lean manufacturing. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.